Good afternoon, my name is George, and I'm here with Felix News to share a few stories of survivors from the gruesome battle of Midway, here to tell us a little bit about their experiences. Now let's go live to our first reporter, who's interviewing Dan Kassenberg directly from Norfolk, Virginia. Hello, Jay Walker. Take it from here.
Thanks, George. Appreciate your enthusiasm. Now we're here with Dan Kassenberg and talk about his accounts during the war. Dan, what made you want to join the Navy?
Join the Navy and see the world was the slogan that caught my attention and had me rushing to join. I was only 17, so I had to wait till October, but I couldn't wait to get out of Wasco, Oregon and serve my country. I was a mere 5'5" and 132 pounds, soaking wet. My first assignment was on the USS Saratoga, which was a sister ship to the USS Lexington.
Wow, that's incredible. You were a scrawny little guy. How did you respond to the attacks on Pearl Harbor?
The attack on Pearl Harbor, it was a real jolt. We pulled into Pearl Harbor the night after the attack, and when I think of it, the smell of burning flesh, fuel, the exploded gunpowder, it returns. Or at least it seems to.
So how did you end up on the Yorktown?
So on January 11th, we were out guarding the Hawaiian shores, and we felt the Sarah shudder, and she was hit by a torpedo and pushed completely upward. The damage was extensive, and after that I was sent TAD to the USS Yorktown. However, she had also been badly damaged herself in the Battle of Coral Sea. Admiral Nimitz, the Admiral of the Pacific Fleet, was told the damages to her would take 3 months, but he demanded that it be done 3 days. He definitely didn't allow it to go any other way. 3 days later, she was battle ready, and we set out to Midway.
That is incredible. What do you recall on that day?
On the morning of June 4th, 1942, I was doing my regularly assigned duties as a talker. The air officer called down, and I made the call, "Pilots, man your planes." Sadly, this was the last time I saw all but 2 of the pilots and 1 of the crew. They never returned. It didn't take long for the gunfire to start, and the chattering noise it caused reminded me of when my dad and I would throw firecrackers into a drum, only this time I was in the drum.
Boom, 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 boom! What was it like when the torpedoes hit?
I remember a heavy bomb exploded on the deck and caused a 12 by 12 hole. I left my office, and on 10 seconds later, another bomb went boom! And destroyed the very office I was in. It would have killed me. But then she became dead in the water. Fortunately, in just a few hours, we got our shit together and had her back up and running. But we could only get her up to 18 or 20 knots. Not enough, but we got her moving. The 2 torpedoes that did hit us, they hit right below the waterline, and it seemed to cause it to list 26 degrees immediately, which makes it really difficult to walk, mind you. However, we were hit again, and at this point, we were definitely dead in the water. She was a sitting duck. The destroyer USS Hammond, she hooked up to us and had us escorted home.
Thank goodness they were there. Were you a part of the salvage crew?
No, but a small crew, a very courageous crew, worked through the night and tried to repair the Yorktown, and it began to actually look promising. However, the following day, I was below decks when another explosion, boom, happened and threw me from side to side. The even heavier lift to port made it difficult to even walk. As it came to the flight deck, I saw bodies were just stacking like firewood, and shortly after, I remember hearing them call out, "All hands, abandon ship!" We abandoned ship from the high side, and it was really sad to see some jump off, strap their life jacket on, and by the time they hit the water, their necks snapped. It was awful. Best keep your wits about you. The destroyers were milling around trying to rescue people. I was eventually picked up by the USS Russell. Many lives weren't saved, and I can't even begin to think how they felt. But so many young people lost their lives right as they were becoming adults. It seems like a waste. However, the heroes that gave up their life that day, they're the ones that won the victory.
Well, thanks so much for your interview. You really are a strong old man. George, back to you.
Holy shit, Jay Walker, that was incredible. Let's move on to our second interview with Commander William G. Roy. Tell us a little bit what it was like to be a Navy photographer on the Yorktown during the battle. Hello, Ron Burgundy, take it away.
Thanks, George. I'm here with William Roy, and he's going to tell us about his experience on the USS Georgetown. So tell me, George, what made you, let's go from the beginning, what made you join the Navy?
Serve my country to help protect the nation I love. I grew up in Lake City, Florida, just like any other little guy. After I graduated in 1939, I couldn't enlist fast enough to do what I love.
Oh, interesting. What were some of your duties on the ship?
I was assigned to USS Yorktown in November 1941 as one of the ship's photographers. My job was to capture our daily activities aboard ship with a special speed graphic still camera Michelle 35mm movie camera.
What events can you tell us that happened leading to the Battle of the Midway?
We pulled in from the Battle of the Coral Sea. Yorktown was severely damaged, and the repairs were going to take at least 90 days. However, Admiral Cheston Nimitz, naval commander in the Pacific, said, "You have 72 hours to repair Yorktown. I need her." 1,200 ship workers aboard along with the entire ship crew and worked day and night. And sure enough, we left in 72 hours.
What events can you tell us that happened leading to the Battle of the Midway?
The first bomb hit in the number 2 elevator, wiping out the 40mm gun crew. The second one went down the stack, below the deck, into the boiler room, and boom! The third exploded on the 4th deck by the bomb torpedo storage areas. Yorktown was dead in the water, and smoke was pouring from all over the ship. People scrambled all about the deck to get the guns manned again. It was an utter chaos, and the photos that I captured depict it clearly. Yorktown had rolled so far to the port that the planes were almost underwater. I remember seeing Captain Buckmaster, the skipper, survey the damage, decided to abandon ship. 2,250 of us went overside. I had 3 cans of 35mm film, and I put them inside of my life preserver. I went over. There were some ropes hanging over the side, and the mess attendant, who couldn't swim, was tangled in the lines. I entangled him, we jumped out together, and went to a life raft. Everyone was in the water, was having difficulty breathing because all the fumes and oils and gases that were in the water. Eventually, I was picked up by the USS Hammond, exhausted and covered in oil.
I understand you were on the salvage party trying to save the Yorktown. How was that?
June 5th, Captain Buckmaster asked the volunteers to be a salvage party to save our ship. I felt it was my duty, I felt we could do it, and I loved that ship. The Hammond was snug secure to the starboard side and supplied the power and the pumps. However, unexpectedly, the Yorktown was struck. 3 torpedoes, boom, 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 Japanese submarines that came out of nowhere. The first struck the underbridge of the carrier, and concussion from the impact ripped the Hammond in two, catapulting sailors into the sea. I caught 3 shots of the Hammond stern going down with the sailors clinging to the wreckage. The final 2 torpedoes penetrated the Yorktown and exploded deep inside. The carrier rolled, throwing everyone in the salvage party in direction. Most of the salvage crew was picked up by the USS Vero.
Wow, that's incredible. What was it like watching the ship you loved sink right in front of you and your crew?
The next morning, Captain Buckmaster called over the loudspeaker, "Yorktown photographer, report to the bridge on the double." We were circling the Yorktown fairly close. I started making photos in the camera. Ocean water was bubbling and swirling, wood and debris was scattered everywhere on the surface. I made photos until the Yorktown disappeared, and that was such a bad sight to see. Captain Buckmaster ordered the batch skipper to come around to go through the floating debris. The wood crates, the planks, the rags, the foaming, the dirty gray water. We passed through where Yorktown had sunk. Captain Buckmaster said, "Come on about and go through again." Boat circled and came back through to still foaming and trash leaden water. Captain Buckmaster, the boat skipper, "Come about and go through again." The boat skipper said, "I'm taking her back to Pearl." We were all crying at this time. The Battle of Midway had been a huge American victory. Admiral Yamamoto staved away in defeat in a month after the Marines landed at Guadalcanal and stopped the enemy Western movement. I was being at the end of Japanese.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Williams, for your time, and thank you for your service. That wraps it up for Felix News.
I don't like that, you're dumb. I bet you'll get some good stuff from Madison. All right, good afternoon, this is George. I'm here with you with Felix News to share with you some incredible stories Good afternoon, this is George with Felix News. I'm here to share some incredible stories with you today. We have a few. Yeah. All right, good afternoon, this is George with Felix News. I'm here to share a few incredible. Good afternoon, this is George from Felix News. I'm here. Good afternoon, this is George from Felix News. I'm here to share a couple incredible stories with you today. Good afternoon, my name is George and I'm here with Felix News to share a couple incredible stories with you today. We have two survivors from the USS Yorktown who survived the gruesome battle at Midway. Good afternoon, my name is George and I'm here with you with Felix News. I already spread it out. Spread this out for a second.
I guess I even.
You just have to step out. Holy shit, Jay, that was incredible. Let's move on to our second interview. Commander Will. Holy shit, that was incredible.